Yes. Hi, thanks for your interest in this course. I'm Stuart McGill, Chief Instructor, Urban Krav Maga Association, and a former third dan in Goju Ryu Karate. Now, I wanted to do this course because I teach basically reality-based self-defense. Every time I teach, I always think, are my feet in the right place and my hips in the right place? Are my feet and hips in the place which is complementary to where my arms are positioned? And this is the sort of stuff that you do whenever you do kata in karate. So, what I thought we'd do with my friend Jim here, who I'll introduce in a minute, is this course will show some self-defense moves which I teach, some stuff that Jim teaches from his karate, and we'll show the kata from which they are based. So Jim, introduce yourself please, sir, and talk about how important the kata is to karate.
Hi, I'm Jim McEvoy. I've been practicing karate for 37 years now, and Goju Ryu karate specifically for the last 13 years. I'm fifth dan in Goju, second dan in Ryu, and a first dan in Kata. I've known Stuart for a very long time. He was my Goju Ryu senpai when I first started studying Goju, and he was very, very, very good at karate back then. When Stuart approached me about this, it was because I wanted to get involved in it because most people do not understand that karate is a real martial art. Nowadays, unfortunately, what people see is just the very, very rough-edged sport karate. And Stuart's idea about with modern martial arts and their link with traditional karate, I know with Stuart's sort of very, very classical background, I know that it would be a good idea and I was happy to get on board with it.
So what we've done is a series of self-defense moves which will be of interest in themselves to you, and we've shown basically how we put together those moves, or how people that we train with over the years have put together those moves based on various karate kata and various form which you practice in karate. So we tried to go ahead and show how important karate is to self-defense, and also how important karate is, or an understanding of karate is, all right, to know how to defend yourself as well. People think that you're just doing all pretty stuff like this. There's actually a lot of very good stuff in there which can help you defend yourself and save your life. Hence the course. Thank you for the interest. Us. Yes.
Okay, this particular move, if you see it performed in kata, and it's one of the Shotokan kata, you see movements like this, where they go, and there's all sorts of hand movements, pulling down like this, and it doesn't look like anything, and it really doesn't. I mean, someone goes, what's that? You know, it's just a set of movements. But actually, what it's for is the most basic strike you're going to get is a roundhouse to the side of the head. So you're going to get, bam, you're going to get that. So my first move is here. Once I'm here, and I go under here, so I've already controlled him. The shock of me just putting my arm there, look what it's done to his body. He's got that. So there's that cross, and it helps me to control. There's my hand pulling back. Now, where my body is now, my whole body wants to just turn around and do that. So he launches around us, and what he gets back is one straight back at him. Now, his body's in shock from the first movement. Bam, there. The whole body now cannot attack from that position. I mean, I could do all sorts of things from here, but from that position, simply to roll him, the last thing he's going to think he's going to get once he sends a big roundhouse into my face is one that comes straight back. His body momentum's coming forward, which is why you get this pull down, brings his head down, and my punch coming up. I'm not going to need anything more than that. So that's the speed of his roundhouse, immediately returned, and it's over.
Us. Us. Okay, people don't associate karate with grappling normally, but there are some good grappling moves that you can get from, if you know karate kata form nicely and properly. So, if Jim comes in here, nice takedown position like this. So he's got a rugby style tackle coming at me here. He goes low, bang, in like this here. I can take the guy here, and now I can put an arm bar on. Other side, please, sir. So he comes in, He comes for the grab there, put the head on this side, head this side. Step back here, Zenkutsudachi. Now I move into Shikadachi, I get pressure on his head like this. Gonna grab here, move position, then I move here, step in, shin onto his fist, shin here, other shin on his rib cage, grab the thumb, push back, tap him out like so. So, let's show this again. Here, if I stay like this, he will take me down, he will charge me, so I need to get back like so. Let's back there. If I move into Shikadachi here, I'm very strong. My hips are lower than his. He tries to push at me now, very tough. Gonna bring this hand around here, grab his nose, this hand here goes to the jaw. Now I can do various things. I can come in like this and tap the guy out from there, or I can put a proper choke on here. I just want to get rid of the guy. This leg steps back here, bang, and now I'm in a position to cause the guy a little bit of damage. So here we have basically Zenkutsudachi, Shikadachi, and then moving around now the Shikadachi here. Jim Sensei will show you this in the context of some of the kata.
This is from one of our most basic Goju Ryu katas called Takedown. So we have 1, 2, and there's that third turn, which is what I should have did.
So I step back here, Zenkutsudachi. Come in again here, Jim. Particularly if the guy gets his head nice and tight, squeeze in like that, I need to make some room for the technique. So I turn here, now I've got a lot more of his face to go to. Can get control like this. Now here, pressure there, step back, drop the guy, move in if you need to, or just take all the way through. But what you're working in this takedown defense move is position, and then moving your feet and hips in an optimal way so you can avoid being taken down and take some retribution on the guy. So these movements here, which you start whenever you're doing your karate kata, you might wonder sometimes why the hell you're doing them. There are some very useful self-defense applications here if you know what you're doing and you study the art properly. Us. Yes. So let's show now rear strangle hold, response to, and some of the kata and forms from which the response came. So Jim comes here behind, gets the choke on like this. I'm going to grab here whatever I can so the guy can't pull me back. Bang, get behind him like this, then bang, push here, work the guy like so. So when the choke comes on, it can be very uncomfortable, pushes me backwards, it's very bad. So I get down there, I grab whatever I can. There I got his trousers, there I got the B. All right, whatever you can get, you grab. If you find the guy's nuts, that's even better. Now, from this position, elbow high, stick my ass out like this, so now it's more difficult for the guy to pull me back, and this allows room for this technique. So as I get here, and stick the ass out, leg comes around here, Shikadachi here. Turn to look at the guy, fingers in his eyes, shoot his arm back here, swim across there, and then you can take the guy down, and you're in a position to come out on top, hopefully. So let's have a look at some of the forms there, please, sir.
Stuart made a point of dropping, grabbing, and reaching. Here in Shotokan kata, form is we go here. So this movement here, there's the reaching back, the grabbing bit. There's, which looks ostensibly like a strike, where Stuart comes up and grabs hold of me again. So that form, stance, the initial movements are all part of that kata. Stuart, because of his previous training in martial arts, he has a great use of a Goju Ryu stance called Nikareshi Dashi. So when Stuart talked about sticking his backside out, what he did was he drifted into this stance. This is one of our most efficient fighting stances in Goju Ryu. You'll often see a Goju man moving off and coming on this line on here. Stuart was very, very good at it back in the day. So what he does is switches from one formal kata into another formal kata. And in doing so, he makes a martial art that works, which ostensibly looks like a modern martial art. But you can see that every time Stuart moves, every time he moves, there is a kata, a formal kata from karate that he's utilising. There is a lot of similarities between what we do.
So, to recap on this, here, I've got this. Jim said, I'm reaching back there and grabbing. Bring the hand up here, elbow high, shrug the shoulder. If I do that, there's nothing. So here, elbow high, shrug the shoulder. You can see the similarity to the kata there if you know it. And bang, stick out like this. Once I get here, it's more difficult for the guy to drag me backwards now because my position is good, my arse is nice and low. I turn this way because if I try and turn here and leave that foot where it is, it'll simply get in the way. So bang, make room for the technique by sticking your arse out here and getting into Niko Ashidachi. This one shoots right, here, Shikadachi. Nice horse riding stance like this. Keep your hips lower than his, you have an advantage. Now, fingers in the eyes so the guy can't take me down. This arm now shoots back like so, swim here, stick on, head up nice and tall like this, slap the guy, take him down. Us. Us. Right, let's just show a nasty little grab and drag technique and how the kata can help us get out of it. So say Jim's fronting me up like this here. I want to get rid of the guy quickly. I'm saying, look mate, don't want a problem at all. I'm going to grab here, pull in like this, get behind this way. Now here, if I transfer up there, this gets very ugly very quickly on the guy. So slowly, I grab something here. I'm going to underhook like this, my shoulder here against his. At this position, I change my hand position to there. Dig the fingers in like that. Step here so I'm sideways on. Lift up here. His elbow there is against my sternum. I come in like this, cause him some serious ag there. Very tough technique. Once I get to that position, it's bad. So from my point of view here, once he puts it on, all right, I'm going to move here, bang, take the guy down, get the position like so. So, one more time there, mate. He grabs here. I need to pull this hand up and I need to step my hip back. If he gets to that position here, tap, all right, then I'm in a very bad way. So I need to move my hip and I need to move my hand up there. Stick this hand like so, because I get a little bit support for this hand. Then I can now use the bony bit here of my wrist, strike there, step, take him down, and I can have a chat there with the guy about the error of his ways, break his arm or whatever. Sounds good. Now, Saiinshin Kata, and show a little move here from Saiinshin.
This movement, where we have that is we've come from here, from here, from here. We lift, and we're doing that, which is what Stuart just demonstrated on me himself.
So one more time there, please, up.
Want to hold forward?
Just move back to the arm like my hip. So, coming in, you lift up. I also need to move this leg out of the way. If I do just that and he gets behind me, it's a real problem. So I need to bang in here, move the leg, move the hip, and then move through, take the guy down. So the hand comes up here, slowly again there, Sensei, in, move back, up, there. So the hands are up in this position. I move my leg out the way, so my hip is no longer in the position whereby he can put the arm behind me. And then, that is the aggressive striking part of the kata. Us. Yes.
Okay, talking about kata, we've talked about Saiinshin Kata. Now, Saiinshin's one of my favourites, and there's so much into it. You see movements like this in Saiinshin, you know, and some people will tell you that it's an augmented block to be used against the kick. Well, if you've got to use two hands against the kick, then you're going to break your arm. Whenever in karate you see a hand come into a hand, it's because you've been held and you want to not let the person go. So if Stuart grabs here and I just do a movement, of course he's going to let go. Now the dangerous thing is not when someone grabs you. All he can do with that is push and pull, nothing else. It's not a threat. The threat is the other hand. So karate teaches us, first of all, that's not a threat. We want to keep it there. The movement to the side here takes away the other weapon. You can't reach me with that. And in the form, I come up here. There, my fist is against the small bones of his wrist. It doesn't take much because I'm holding him where he is to instill a lot of pain. In the form, we go from Sensei stance in to Shikodachi. From here, I can smash into the face, which is doing the form. Then I move out into Ashidashi, back to Shikodachi. Got as much control over him as I want. Which is basically 1, 2, 3, which is all I did.
Us. Us.
Okay. Do that set we just did, it was slow. And the reason it was slow, there's a great potential for causing enormous amount of damage. When Stuart grabs, if I switch this quick, you know, he's got, you know, it's very difficult for me. I let go, because if I don't let go, I'm going to break his wrist. So I let go, but in letting go, I've still got control of that. You know, I can still do my technique here, even though I let it go. I let it go to prevent a wrist break. I've still got that technique. I can still now control this one and break the elbow there. So let his wrist go. You've got to choose how much damage to do to somebody. But I can still absolutely control him from here.
Us. Us. Right, let's do a couple of techniques here using stuff from Cypher and Sansaru katas. So here, I'm going to come in and try and grab Jim. He's come back here, he strikes, bang, like that. He drops into position here, bang, he takes me down and causes me all sorts of ag. See, from my point of view here, once this happens to you, bring your foot up here so the guy can't easily stomp on your nuts. If you stay here, you're finished. All right, so bang, bring that foot up for a little bit of defense. So, one more time here, slowly, I go at the grab, he smacks here, strike in like so, then he drops. Now note the position here, he's got nice control of my ankle, pushing me that way, bang, I go, I get my foot there to defend myself. I've still got a very bad position. From his point of view, he can throw me across there now, just throw my foot across there, and then I've got a lot of problems from there. So, this time here, he's going to come into me, I'm going to come in, grab, in, bang, I strike, he comes down here and grabs here. From my point of view now to defend, drop the knee, this little twist we always do. Thumb here in the mastoid gap, grab his chin, I'm dropping my knee to the ground, twist him like so, bang, tick, and then I can do various bits of badness from here. You keep position on the guy like this with your foot up, other leg here, very uncomfortable for the guy. Grab this arm here to defend your own nuts. Now, there's a few elements from a couple of katas there, which Jim Sensei will take you through.
Okay, from the Cypher kata, we had this move. We get that. A lot of what we did there was there. So when I came here, that's, if someone goes to grab, I can simply just move here. From here, I've opened up the centre, and I hit straight forward. Real, I'd be trying to take the floating ribs. Once you collapse them, see the way the body went? The weakness on the knee. Once I go here, it's just a matter of doing that, and down he goes. Where you saw Stuart's defence against that was when I went to grab the knee here, he simply sent the knee forward and got this movement here. And then he turned. Now, if he didn't let it go, or, you know, as we said earlier, it's difficult to do things real time because you'd break my neck. But in the kata, once we've gone 1, 2, the defence against that movement was this. Then you just come down to the head. From there, you see this movement an awful lot in Goju Ryu kata. There's movements like this all over the place. And all of them are about controlling that. Because when the kata were designed, you had what was called the chonage, which was the top knot, and then you had a beard. So it was quite handy to grab those things and just turn them. You see this in so many of my kata. Goju Ryu has it all the time. because the best way to control someone is by their neck. If he had, like both of us haven't got that problem, but if he had his top knot here, and I grabbed it and I grabbed his beard chin, it's easy to manipulate him, using stance to control him. I can break the neck very easily. The kata are designed for violence. Quick, effective means of disposing of your enemy. It's very difficult, which is why I think a lot of people, not Stuart, but a lot of people think that the katas don't work. Someone like Stuart, who's actually, can do what he does, realises that you have to let these things go sometimes. Because what looks like a little movement, imagine that full speed. Only have to practice it together once. So in karate, we have movements like this, where we do them slowly. It's put in our mind that when we're doing these to people, do it slowly, or you'll break someone's neck. So when you see all these slow movements in kata, things like this, you saw, again, done full speed, the wrist is gone. So you have to be careful. Doing this, you have to be careful. So you see them slowly in kata. You go, that doesn't work. Doesn't work, but done in real speed, you break a lot of things. Karate is meant to damage, which is why we don't do it to each other.
Us. Okay. Us. Right, let's do the first couple of sets of techniques here. We'll show the self-defense techniques and then we'll show the kata and the moves in the kata on which they're based. So the first one here, Jim grabs me like so, in nice and tight here. Now, if he's got a good grab on here, he can headbutt me very quickly. So first thing I do here, bang, tuck in like that, so if the guy does nut me, he gets me in the top of the head here. At the same time, smack the guy on the ears. Gently when you train, in fact when you train, a little bit above the head for a little bit of safety. So in, bang, then here, I take him back like so. Nice position here, step across there, in, position moves here, take the guy's arm. Let's do that one more time please. So, as he comes in, grab, tuck in the head, step back, I control here, I'm going to take his thumb like so, other hand here, step across this way, knees together, I drop down like so, hand position comes here, and I can take him like so. I can control the guy here and have a chat, but you see where I have the arm this way? I can cause a wrist bar here, or I can take his shoulder and his wrist by going like so. So, let's talk now about where these moves come from. The first thing I did there, step back like so. Jim, show the archer stance from the kata, please. Then go back the other way. Step back here. You see the similarity in the motion. This is from which kata, sir? So, Sainshin kata in Goju Ryu. So as I take Jim down here, bang, I'm stepping back like this. It's the step back, and a nice low stance like so. This gives me the opportunity now to drop him. I end up close to the guy, and I can move into this. If you show now the Haporen kata, please, Jim. The Haporen in. Note this movement here. So he's putting the hands together like that, knees together. Now, I've seen this taught as a block against a kick to the nuts. I wouldn't recommend that at all, but you can see the similarity between that move, again please sir, and what I did there. I stepped across the guy on the floor again please mate. Get on the floor. Step, knees together. Drop down like this, the hands in this position. So you see the similarity here, bang, pull off to the side. That, I think, is the correct bunkai stroke application of that Haporen kata move. Thank you very much. Us. Us. Right, I'm going to show a technique where I move into a sweep, and then Jim's going to show the kata, okay, from which you actually got this technique, and we'll talk about a few variations and how there's a different way into what is essentially the same technique, and there's a different way of applying that similar technique, and how difference in distance, okay, can determine to a certain extent what you do. So, we're going to front up like this. So here, what I'm going to do here, regular left leg forward stance, both of us, going to chuck a jab in like this, and I can come around here and sweep the geezer. So, the movement is this. I jab, move off to the side. Now as I come here, I'm going to kick here like so. Move your toes there towards your shin to make them stronger, and as I do that, I hit at the guy's Achilles tendon. I come in, I strike like that, bang, you can drop the guy from here. Particularly with their boxers who tend to have a lot of weight on the front leg, you can take the guy down from here. So, I come in, if it doesn't work for whatever reason, I brought my hand around this position, elbow up here, this other hand there is giving me some cover, so he can't easily take a whack at me. Then I come in like this, and I have some position to do some more damage. So the basic movement here, jab, come around, in, bang, 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 here, taking down however it works. Then I can move into a grappling technique, or I can just give him a good kick and move on the way. So, if you can show the appropriate part of the Gekisai Kata now, please, sir, and the way they do the sweep.
So, we use it, so if someone steps forward with a jab, here, you move out of the way, opening up to kick here, I drive, groin, strike. My sweep comes from here. Rather than attacking Achilles here, I take the side of the knee. So in form, there's a sort of stand, and the reason for that is, if he's got a very good stance, Stuart's got strong legs. So sweeping here, I'm not taking it down. But the Kata does this movement here, so I take the back of the knee here. In the form is this. So when I take here, which is the form, I'm covering. As I step down now, obviously I blow the knee out, but then I can strike here.
Let's show that from the other angle.
So he takes the jab, and I move here. Kick here, strike. When I come back here and I hit here, you see his knees are about to blow. If I just step down here, the knee's blown out, and there's a kill shot.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Now, Jim, grab me like this. Give me the arm around here, mate. He's got a nice little threat across me there. So he's taking control of this arm, and he's got this shoulder in my face here. I've got all sorts of things to worry about here, including he can knee me in the nuts, he can get a headbutt in, he can start to take me down. So my position now needs to be like this. So once he gets on here, I'm going to turn this way, drop nice and low, get my hips below his, get my ear here into his chest like so. So, first gig, in, ground drop like this, then here, bang, take him down here. I can cause him some problem there, get rid of this arm, then, yeah, there's a few things I can do from there. So let's work that one again a little bit more slowly. So, Jim Sensei has me here. Drop, shikadachi. Now I'm going to turn my head into him like that. You can see what that does to him here. Foot steps here, then it steps across like this, and there I really should win from this position. So, let's have a look at the kata, from which we derive this technique.
Those movements Stuart did, where he was in with shikadachi, he stepped up and shifted his body weight past my center line, which made him tip over. Shotokan have a kata called teki, which is like using sideways movements, and they had the same sort of thing. They had it coming up to here, and then down to there, which is effectively what Stuart did. In Goju Ryu, we have something similar, but rather than shifting the weight 1, 2, what we would do is Stuart's initial movements, which were to re-grab me, to counter my grab, I would do, you see this a lot in our forms, this movement here. So rather than shifting my weight here to move his balance back that way, where his balance is shifted, we have this, which effectively, you can come up, you can drop, you see a lot of our katas, come up, push, so a lot of our kata, the senior grade kata, have this movement followed by making their centre move over, just taking their legs up. which is what Stuart did, but what Stuart did was, using the Shotokan version, was make sure that because of my weight, he didn't stand on one leg, because that would have been tricky. What he did was simply shift here, shift there. Another form from another system, but those movements are in karate.
Yes. Yes. Right, let's do a nice little preemptive move here, and Jim will take us back to where we got this from, the kata. So the guy fronts me up, say he's giving me all big arms like this, in this position here, in like that, in, bang, here, back, headbutt, bang, get a few blows in here, pull, push, drop him down, whatever you fancy. So the initial move here, reality, I'm going to strike here to the guy's throat, and this comes in there to the solar plexus. When you train sternum and solar. Marotozuki, double strike. As I do this here with the left hand, twist a little bit like that. See the way that breaks the gentleman up like so. This is the real break up thing like that. In here, bang, grab, bang, and get a headbutt in like that. That should really end the situation. Pull with the left, pull with the right, that twist him. I turn here, and then I can drop him down. Yeah, whatever you fancy from there. But the key is the double strike coming back from here. I'm in like this, nothing to do there. Back, bang, headbutt. Get a couple of knees in if you wish. Pull, push. That gets the guy all over the place already. And then if I just take a big walk that way, I can drop him. So, the kata, please, sir.
Kata, that's from the very basic Goju kata, gekisoi. We have movements where we come across here, up, so it's here, bang, here. They have movements like that, which is basically where Stuart was coming in and turning me. Like we did earlier when we're doing this movement in the form, so when I come here and here, it's the same thing. So as Stuart struck me, watch his arms, they're dropping around like that. As he takes this one down to take me over, they're ending up where they are in the kata.
I'm going to go back to Hapurin kata. I can come across here, knees together, drop down like this, and here, bang, stick him out like so. So, as I was taught many years ago, it's all in the kata. Not entirely sure I believe all of that, but there's no doubt that as you explore your arts more deeply, and you explore the kata more deeply, you do find that a hell of a lot of it is actually in the kata. Yes. Right, let's show a couple of fighting applications here, which involves various movements from the Tensho kata, which Sensei Jim will show you in a minute, and then we'll tie them back to what we've actually done. So say here, I want to put the choke on the guy. I'm going to pull and push him like this, step behind here. Now, once I get here, if I lift up there, you can see here, I'm pulling his balance back. Step back now into, you okay? All right, step back into Sankutsudachi. I can drop him down like this, complete the choke here. If the geezer sucks his chin in, then I can come here and stick on the face bar, which can actually be a little bit worse. So, here, pull and push, I've got behind the guy like this. I don't want the geezer to go ahead and keep balance, and I don't want him to maintain his chin tucked in, so I lift up like so. Then I can get my bony bit of my wrist in here. My shoulder is against here, and I can now cause him all sorts of grief. I can just choke him out from there, drop him to the ground, choke out here, then I can move into the face bar if I wish, which is even worse in some ways. So, another option I have here, the guy fronts me up, I want to get rid, in like this, I don't want any trouble, in, bang like this, back there, and strike down like so. So, up we get please, Jim. So, in, lift straight up. So here, back of the hand hits him there, fingers go in the jugular notch, and then push down like so to the guy's sternum. All right, quite a nice, nasty little set of techniques. Again, you do it slow when you train in, jugular notch is here, push into there, then strike down like so. 1, 2, in, bang, then you can move nicely on the way. Now, Jim will show some elements of Tensho kata which pertain to that which we've just been doing.
Tensho kata is probably the most misunderstood kata in Goju Ryu. For most people, it doesn't look like any martial art at all. It's just a matter of moving your hands about. In fact, the name Tensho just means rotating palms. But those movements that Stuart was doing, where he was reaching in, grabbing, striking, pushing, those are all in Tensho Kata. It also is an antidote. Where we're doing predominantly striking, it makes the wrist a bit solid. Having an exercise that can open the wrist joints is an antidote to the fact that when you're striking something all the time, you close your wrist joints up. So Tensho, it's all of those movements that we were doing a lot of today. A lot of, when Stuart, when he does his close quarter work, there's a lot of him reaching in, grabbing, pressuring points. His wrist is being bent around as he reaches around. We was doing chin controls and all that sort of stuff. They're all in this. And by practicing the form and the way we practice it, it exercises the wrist, exercises the muscles that are attached, that guide the hands, and give you how to manipulate someone in close quarter. And like most of our kata, ended up with that neck break that we spoke of earlier. So Tensho is very, very misunderstood. It doesn't look like much, but if your mind's in the right place when you're practicing it, and you know what it is you're doing with your hands and your feet, which is what we were doing today, where are your feet relative to your hands? So Tensho allows you to practice all of those movements in what looks like nothing at all, but it's a really, really worthwhile thing to practice.
Yes. Us. Okay, let's go show a defensive option against the straight knife stab and how we can apply that back to a kata in Goju Ryu. So I'm doing like this, I'm not expecting anything. The guy comes in with a straight stab to the gut like so. Now I've got no time to do anything fancy here. Comes in, bang, position here, drop him like so. So what I've done, he's come through, I've got to get myself offline. All right, if he comes in here, it's bad. So this arm comes up like this, I'm going to hook my hand that way, because then I can get a bit better control on the guy. At the same time as I do that, bring this arm up here, so I got some defense against the throat if he goes for me this way. So rather than just do simply that, then I've got something open there. I get that move here, this comes up, I get the control. Slowly again there, please, sir. In, bang, hook, grab. I'm going to push my body against him here, keep control here, drop down, pressure like this, then I can take here. There are various things I do to make the gentleman release. So, that and that. Sensei Jim will show how they work this move in Goju Ryu Karate.
We use that movement in Goju, it's called Goju Ryu, and most of our cuts are in Seanshin, which we've seen a little bit of. You see that quite a lot, moving off the line and there. That moving off the line from here to here is what Stuart did when I went forward. He moved off that line in the same stance almost. So as I went here, he moved off the line the same as I did and performed the block.
In, that way there, so you can see here, this comes up, that's the block, and this hand needs to be ready. It's not exactly the same, but as you can tell, bang, very similar to what you do in that way. And again, if I work the other side, I do this way. So one more time, slow, comes in there, in, bang, pull in, drop down, and take. Us. Us. Okay, let's show a knife defense here. The geezer got the blade, he's going to cause me some damage. Blade in the right hand, left leg forward. If I'm like this, he sees way too much off me. Tuck in the chin, cover like this. Do not show the guys the veins here. I want to get out of this situation quickly. So here with the front left leg in like that, in, bang, here. Take the gentleman down like so. I can take the weapon, have a chat with the guy. So, what I'm doing here, I stomp, bang. I'm going to try and move out the way. He's going to still come at me. I don't know where he's going to come in. Is he going to come in low or going to come in high? So I haven't been able to get sufficiently out of the way. The guy's still going. Double block like this. Now note here how I hook this way. Makes it more difficult to him pull it back. If I'm like that, he can pull back, cause me some more ag. So as I do the block here, in fingers touching like this, then I have a little bit more control. This pulls in, whack the guy like this, take his head down, and then respond to how he breaks up. Give the guy a good couple of whacks, control, take the weapon nice and quickly. One more time here. Stomp, move, block, strike the guy's head, not his neck, and then bang, I can do various things to get the weapon free here. Now this we basically got from Cypher Kata. Jim Sensei will show that part of the kata.
We have movements in the kata, which are basically to move here, to move here. And there's a kick on the end of that in form, Stuart put in front, which is once we've come across from one side and come across to the other side, there's that kick and a step back, which Stuart used. But the movement was the same movement.
The movement is
on the side with those movements.
So, as he comes in, I get the kick in here, I want to get here and move out the way. So I'm moving laterally away from the weapon. Here, in, bang, double block like this. You can see here, similar to Sotoruki and Gidan Barai from before, but I get these motions going here with the hand, because when he comes in like that, I want to make sure the guy cannot hook. Hence you have this in the Cypher Kata, this rather strange looking hook of the hands. So kick, move out the way, into position, take his head down. Make sure you get the guy's head, not his neck. Break an arm from here, and then you can take the weapon nice and safely. So you want to know how to defend a knife? It's not a bad idea to learn your Cypher Kata. Hus.
Go.
Hus. Right, let's continue something we started a couple of weeks ago. What to do when the guy gets behind, sticks it on here. Right, a figure four choke like this. Now, in reality with this, if you let the guy get comfortable and stop for a chat like I've done now, you give yourself very little chance indeed. So in reality, you have to move pretty damn quick. So here, already put myself at disadvantage by not moving quick, but hell, something happens. So if he does in, bang like this, in, bang, 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 and then whatever feels good. So there's a good chance the guy's gonna drag you. All right, so here, he starts to drag me back. My balance goes like this. This is poor. So, this leg goes straight back. Elbows high, shrug the shoulder. In reality as well, make your neck strong. So, as I do this, bang here. In reality, this foot does not stop and take a photo. I go back, turn, big step like this. Now you see already here, I pull John's elbow up like this. Control there. Here, I'm going to nut him, elbow, I can move around here, break an arm. Okay, if he goes down like it did when we first did the technique, even better. Go down with him, or sorry, stay with him, give him a couple of kicks and move on the way. So, back, elbow high, shrug the shoulder. Back, turn this foot immediately, big step here with the left. I pull his elbow, keep this hand here in this position. Nut him, elbow. And now from here, what I can do as well from this position, nut, elbow, this hand moves here, I get this control. Pull this into the hip, arm through here, punch out. Step back, bang, you can break an arm like so. Now, anybody who knows traditional martial arts will recognize some of the elements of these techniques. This basic form, step back here, long stance, turn through, assume your long stance, facing the other way. From various forms and kata. Also from various forms, people will recognize this. You step back, bang, step back, bang. This is what you're training when you're doing this. People mistake it for stand-up fighting technique. This is not a great stand-up fighting technique. What it is, in, bang, here, position, in, come around here. Keep this by your hip, drop this to here. Push forward, step back, break the guy's arm. Now, the problem is if I do that hard, we do it only once. If I train like this, I get used to the technique and doing it hard, and I don't break my partner's arm. So that's why you do a lot of things you do in traditional karate, taekwondo, etc. Bus!
Sensei. So far.